Welcome to Tessery, a podcast by Tesseros. Here, we're crafting life with tools and purpose. Through real examples, thoughtful tech, and practical strategies, we help you master the craftsmanship of your digital and everyday world. If you're looking for a clear place to start learning how to use AI and other technologies to support your work or home, this is your guide. Along with building resilient systems and carving space for creativity, we explore where transformation begins, one intentional step at a time. Hello! This week, from space fans to digital images, we're talking about curiosity and the power of play. It hasn't been about being perfect. It's certainly not about being hyper productive. But it's been really fun to realize how many stuck moments can be solved when you play with the tools you already have. And forcing yourself to not go out and buy the next thing, but to just try with what you have all of a sudden starts opening your mind to all these other possibilities of things you could probably do. And that's a really empowering feeling. Usually, for me, Valentine's cards feel like another thing on the to-do list. There's nothing that the kids particularly enjoy. I'm spending money on something I know is going immediately in the garbage. And I remember being a kid and at least a quarter to a third of the Valentines in that box had messages that were embarrassing and I did not want to give my friends. So we wanted to try something different and make our own Valentine's cards this year. And so what we ended up doing was in ChatGPT, there's a GPT called Coloring Book Hero, which makes pictures that you can color. And so we put in our own requests to get the pictures that we were looking for. So the 5-year-old ended up choosing a monster truck going over a rainbow. And my 9-year-old decided that he wanted a picture of a van flying through space towards Saturn with a rainbow in the background. So we got the images that we were looking for. And then I was able to work with ChatGPT. I took a picture of the class list and got it to transcribe them for me. And then I put text boxes over the pictures in Word so that I could just copy and paste the names over, and we put in our own Valentine's messaging, a much more generic Happy Valentine's Day from, because that's all we really wanted to do. And then the kids will decide this week whether they want to color them or give them to be colored, and we'll tape a candy on the back because apparently everybody gets a candy for everything these days. But we had a lot of fun making our own images and seeing what the technology could do these days, especially when it came to bringing these different abstract concepts into one image. The next thing that I ended up doing was our dryer vent hasn't been sitting snug to the bottom part of the vent. When you put it in, it was raised a little bit. And this causes a couple of problems. One, you end up with way more lint getting through the filter than you should because your filter's not flush. And we were getting lint coming out the exterior filter, which, by the way, most of your houses will have an exterior filter for your vent. Check your lint trap outside as well. It should be clear, but if it's not, you want to take a look at what's going on. So anyway, there was a couple of screws that were different to hold the whole vent contraption in place. And when I was looking down the spring flaps, it was like a large accumulation of lint and debris and things, and I couldn't reach it with the tools that I had, especially in such a narrow opening. And so my inclination was to unscrew the screws that were different than the ones that were not Phillips screws and looked like I shouldn't do those ones. But when I did that and kind of stretched them apart a little bit, I saw there was even more debris in there than I was expecting. But I also saw that there was a cable switch. And so I paused and I took a picture of the model number and what I was seeing down the vent trap and put them through Gemini to get a second opinion on. My instinct is I need to stop and put it together, but this is also a problem. So what can I do about it? And so, yes, don't take your screws apart because there is a sensor in there. So we did give me some ideas though of like, hey, I have painter sticks around. I can use that to loosen up the solidified lint. And then once it was loose, it gave me the idea to duct tape a cardboard tube onto my handheld vacuum so that I could guide it down where I needed it to. And that worked. And so with a bit of duct tape, a bit of creativity, and a roll of wrapping paper that no longer has a core, I was able to get the majority of the debris all cleared out, and now my vent is sitting flush again. This kind of creative energy also carried through to my work projects. So I had finished a dashboard that I've been working on, and it's got the function that I was looking for, but I didn't like looking at it. And I certainly wouldn't want to have it open all the time. The pictures were just feeling a little bit jarring, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I took a screenshot of the whole thing and said, I don't like it and I don't know why I don't like it, but here's the picture I like. Here's the picture that Andrew likes. How do I make this better? And so it was able to work with me and identify that I was switching between literal and metaphorical images. And so that was a little bit jarring. And then also the color palettes were all over the place. And then that doesn't create a cohesive feeling. And so going through, once I was able to understand why I was feeling a certain way, I was able to then take the pictures that I wanted and kind of come up with now things that were in a similar style to the ones I enjoyed, but go over to ChatGPT and tell it, this is what I like about a picture, but here's the aspects that are missing that would make it exactly what I'm looking for. And I want the picture generated in this palette. And Gemini can make pictures, but sometimes I find if I want something a little bit more creative, ChatGPT still seems to work a little bit better for that. It's just a little more, I don't know, supportive and willing to please. Sometimes that's a hassle, but sometimes that's helpful. And for picture generation, it does seem to work a little bit better for me when I want something that's a bit more conceptual. And I know what I want, but I have to describe it. Whereas I could say to Gemini, I would like a picture of a hope chest with no background, and here's the wood, and it'll do that perfect. But combining components, I haven't quite got it doing that for me yet. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other thing that I got help with was I was listening to this playlist on Spotify and had one song that I particularly liked. And so I gave the song to Gemini and got it to describe it and let me know what was it that was different about this song that made it something that was more appealing to me. And then once we had that kind of descriptor of what it was that made this one feel particularly different, I got it to give me a prompt so that I could go over to Suno AI, because the song had no lyrics. It was melody and beats. And so then we went to Suno AI and I had a prompt that I could put in to give me something that was in the style of the other song. And that was a lot of fun, just seeing different things that are getting closer and closer to the vision that I have. Each time I feel like I get 5%, 10% closer. And it's really interesting seeing, one, how much the technology is changing, but as you start to shift your mindset to go, well, could I do it? What would that look like? The world feels different. So the common thread here is curiosity. Whether it's helping your family make the coolest Valentine's cards or getting to work on a project and make it look the way you pictured it in your head, these tools have started to let me transition from things not working or working to understanding why I like certain things or why I don't. And that's always been a part that's been challenging for me to verbalize. There's a feeling to things for me, but I'm not great at communicating, one, both with feelings, but two, with imagery, what that is. And so having tools to help give me that language so that I can communicate better has been really exciting. So that leads us to this week's challenge. I want you to find one small default in your life, a file, a notification, a creative project, and make one small change to make it a little bit better. I hope you have a great week, and I can't wait to see you next time. Thanks for listening to Tessery. If this episode sparked an idea or helped you forge a new path, we'd love to hear it. Tessery is built by community. Send us your questions, feedback, or stories about how you're using AI or other technologies to simplify your life. Email us at hello@tesseros.com or leave a review on the app where you're listening right now. And if you know someone who's looking to craft their life a little bit differently, please share this episode with them. You can find all episodes, show notes, and extras at tesseros.com/tessery and subscribe through your preferred podcast app. Until next time, keep placing the pieces that matter.